Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope all of y'all had a great weekend. You're relaxed and energized and ready to start a new week, whether that be going to work, staying at home, or whatever you happen to be doing. By the time I got this video done, I think it's going to get loud here in a little while. We got some weather coming through in an hour or two. I'm going to try to do this video and get back out to Walmart. Even some extreme weather maybe, but I'm imagining it's just going to be a lot of rain and then we'll get cold again. So to start the week, I wanted to talk about Raw Food Diet 101. I got some shortcuts for getting started. Guys, I do videos every day, so if you have not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you go down there now and hit that red subscribe button. Then be sure you click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. This is going to be more of another one of those methods, just little tricks, little tips, how to do it. You know, people kind of want me to, I stay in my lane. I use that expression a lot, but I really do. I stay in my lane. People are always like sending me messages and like, hey, why don't you do a video on this, this, and that? And I'm like, and you know, I'm just thinking, okay, well, I kind of assume, I guess, that everybody knows my whole story, knows the whole vibe of my channel, but that's just really not my thing. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff out there is very repetitive. It's already out there. It's already out there. A lot of the stuff that's actually about the nuts and bolts of this lifestyle has already been done. So you can search YouTube and you can find videos on everything. I'm not Mr. Recipe Guy. I just don't like to do things, invent things just for the sake of inventing them. Like, I've tried to make this channel, you know, as organic, just as natural as possible. And that's how I do with recipes and making food. I mean, I was thinking about that this morning when I was going somewhere. And I was thinking like, okay, you know, in the beginning I was like, ooh, now eventually I'm going to do this recipe book and I'll do this and I'll do that. And then I start seeing the recipes out there and I'm like, why? This is obviously a recipe person over there, and they've got such great versions of the things I'm already looking for and the things I want to make, so I don't necessarily need to sit down and do all that, this, that, and the other. So anyhow, I'm just going to give you some shortcuts for getting started today. And this is like, you know, just use any of them. This is kind of just like a hodgepodge of different things that could be used for the absolute beginner. It can be used any number of ways along the way. And just like I say, any progress forward, any steps you're taking forward are good. Stop thinking in pass, fail, or good and bad, or black and white. There's a lot of in between. Okay, first thing, get used to eating bananas. And okay, for the people out there, and y'all always let me know, why are, you know, even if you don't like a banana, you maybe not personally eat it, the banana people that don't eat bananas, they are some haters. They gotta tell you, like, I don't eat bananas. I hate bananas. I can't eat bananas. They do this to my stomach. Cool, brother. Go find another fruit then. I'm just talking for the masses. Most everybody out there that I've ever talked to, that I know, that I've met in real life, that does this, does use bananas. If you don't, well, and hey, there are legitimate reasons. It's not just you know, some people can literally not eat bananas for certain reasons, but get used to bananas. Bananas are your friend. Bananas are most places you are. They're cheap, they're available, and they're not that hard to get. You know, almost every place will have bananas. There will be an exception to that too, you exception people. But bananas, I'll tell you what, for almost 7 years, I think back, I would love to have I'd love to be able to click a button somewhere and see how many bananas I've eaten in that time, but tons and tons and tons. I don't know how many thousands of bananas that I eat a year, but a lot of bananas, that they're good for you, they're tasty, they're cheap, and they're available. So get used to the banana. The banana will help you a lot. And also too, and this will help, and like I say, you may be watching this and you've never done the raw food diet and you're starting from scratch. That's okay. Bananas, and freeze your bananas. And I got something else I'll add to it in a minute, but the banana nice cream. Learn early on. As soon as you start this lifestyle, learn how to make banana ice cream, because it's so good and it will help you a lot, and you can eat a lot of it. So even if nothing else, it'll, you know, you may not be perfect, you may still make a lot of mistakes, but if you can eat, you know, 8 or 10 bananas of nice cream like I do, that's a big chunk out of your day right there. And it's kind of like in the beginning especially, we're trying to crowd the bad stuff, the old stuff out with new good stuff. And I will stick on my kind of getting started, my shortcuts. I'm just trying to decide which one I'll mention first. I've got two machines down here. The blender, just a basic blender. Just a basic blender. If you can afford more, sure, get it. I've got a Vitamix. I've had other things. I've had NutriBullets. I'm just trying to point out that you can get by with a basic blender. Don't be worried. Don't feel like, oh, I'm going to not be able to do this and that with a basic blender. And most basic blenders, I think you can get something out there for around $30, $35. Now, the reason I'm saying a basic blender will do you just fine. No, you're probably not going to be able to make ice cream in it, although I have. It's a lot of wear and tear on it. Get yourself a food processor. I'm really, I've just really started using a food processor a lot over the last, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months or so. But once I saw how good the ice cream was in it, I just started. And it's good for a lot of things. And once again, right there, you could get a $35 blender and you could get a $35 food processor, and that's 70 bucks. And you can do all the heavy lifting, all the heavier stuff. You could, even the nuts that you want to maybe make into sauces and dressings, you can do that. You can do that in that food processor, but without breaking the bank if you're on a budget. And that will be your ice cream. That will be your ice cream right there. You don't have to have the fancy Vitamix to do the ice cream. In fact, my food processor is my #1 tool that I've ever used to make ice cream in. Get yourself a good sharp knife. You don't have to do a whole lot of other stuff. It doesn't have to be expensive. In fact, I'm standing by the dish rack and I happen to have one right here. I think I actually have two, but oh yeah, I do. This is one I've given to my mother. This is a little brand called Farberware. And they've a little grungy. They got a little wear and tear on them. They're stained. But these are like, this one, the bigger one, is like a $12 knife, if I remember right. It might be a little bit more now. I've had it a few years, but this is maybe $12. This is a couple or $3 less. They're very good knives. They hold an edge. People ask me a lot how when I show stuff on Instagram, they always ask me, how do you get your mangoes cut so well? And that's the key. Key to a lot of things is just having a decent sharp knife. And like I say, this is a good brand. I've had expensive knives before, but why have expensive when that does everything you need right there? Another thing, and this will be the last, nope, got 2 more points I want to make to you here. Greens. Start getting your greens in from the beginning. That's something I didn't do as much in the beginning on this lifestyle. I'd have to go watch a couple of my videos to remember the timeline, but I was probably 2, maybe 3 years into my journey before I started really having a lot of green smoothies and focusing on getting plenty of greens in there. That's something that's good. The fruit's great. The fruit is the base of my lifestyle, of my diet, but we need those greens for the minerals. So try to start getting in the greens, and that'll fill you too. These green smoothies, I just had one for lunch. I had a green smoothie and I had a half of a meme sapote. And I generally, and you need to mix up your greens if you can. It's good to kind of rotate them, but I generally use bananas, kale. I personally, you don't need this. This is just my taste a little bit, and I've been using it for years. I use bananas, kale, spirulina, and a little bit of cacao for flavoring. And I'll make them big. I mean, those are big smoothies. Sometimes I just make one of those and sip on it for an hour or 2. And sometimes I put as many as 12 in there. Another big meal, especially with the greens. Somehow the smoothie's very satisfying with the greens in there. And actually, I try to put in chia seeds as much as possible, and I remember it, because that's a good combination. A little bit, those chia seeds, the greens will help keep you full. So right there, just the banana and ice cream, banging out a big green smoothie. And some days I do both. Just because, I like kind of just go however the day goes and see what I feel like. But there's a lot of days where I'll have a big green smoothie and I'll have a fairly big portion of banana and ice cream. You're talking between the two, at least 18 bananas or so. So if you start doing the math and no calories and no energy, there's not a whole lot more you have to eat after that. I mean, you know, I try to shoot for about 3,000 calories, but that's coming up on 2/3 of it right there. Let's see. One last point, and that's going to be it for the day. Just focus on eating, like I say, more for the very, very new to this. Just focus eating on raw as possible. Don't worry about being fully raw. Don't worry about how much cooked you're eating. In fact, I'm going to throw a little something in there. I've mentioned this 1,000 times before, but here's a little twist on it. Eat your raw meals. Eat your, you know, have your green smoothies, have your banana nice cream, make salads, but don't give yourself, especially in the beginning, don't give yourself any grief for any cooked food you have. Instead, if you really need the cooked food, or if you really have that feel for it in the beginning, eat the cooked food, but make good choices. Eat whole foods. Eat whole foods instead of, you know, like eating a bunch of junk or whatever. What happens basically, and this is the same diet, is like when you hold on, when you try to, what we resist persist. You know what I mean? So if you will eat as much as possible, eat as raw as much as possible, but then when you get hungry, just make a good choice with cooked food. I think what I'm trying to say here, I'm kind of struggling for my words, is I think people try to hold off so long on cooked food, period, that they end up making bad cooked food choices. Whereas I had rather they just say, okay, I'm a beginner to this, I'm learning how to do this, I'm transitioning, and if they feel like they got to eat cooked food, they steam some vegetables or they cook a sweet potato or something. And by not waiting and thinking they can hold it out and tough it out or whatever, they don't tend to make worse choices. So anyhow, just a few little easy tips there for wherever you are on your journey. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.